Hello everyone, it's Dom here from Esports News UK, the final day of ESL One Birmingham here at Resorts World Arena, and I'm joined by a UK caster, Gareth. It's your first major ESL event you're working on, right? Thanks for joining us, Gareth. How's it going?
Yeah, of course, yes, great. Yeah, I've done a bunch of sort of other events, and I did a lot of ESL B streams. And since 2015, when I started casting as like a full-time job, I was on the ESL B streams for the most part. I was meant to come to some ESL main events, but COVID happened, so that kind of shuttered things. You know, we cut a lot of events there. It's honestly been amazing to have my first ESL event be in the UK, be in Birmingham, you know, and have this crowd as well. Because English crowd is up there.
It is, and I feel like the ESL's really tapped into the whole UK culture. I mean, you know, for people who don't drink, it's probably not that fun, but
downing the pints with the lads, yeah.
The camera cutting to everyone in the crowd doing that, like, it's been quite fun, and the whole brewmaster thing, you know. So yeah, how's it been? I guess being on stage, you mentioned it briefly. Do you live near here? Are you near Birmingham? Where are you from?
I'm based in Berlin now, so I'm originally from Bradford up north. Right, but I've lived out of the UK for about half my life. So my parents were teachers. You know, we moved around, lived in a bunch of different countries. But in 2015, I got a job offer from Join Dota, Freaks for You, one of the original like Dota websites, portals. So I moved over there, started casting full time. That's when I started doing ESL B stream, all the old MLG stuff. We had the Join Dota League back then as well. But yeah, that was when I started doing it full time. I mean, prior to that, it was like a hobby when I was doing it here in the UK. You know, had a full time job working in a warehouse, asking, hey, I need Friday, Monday off because I'm popping over to Kettering to do Epic.LAN.
Oh, it's a shame we haven't done this interview yesterday because I was wearing my Epic.LAN jacket yesterday. And you know, on Epic.LAN, my writer Wade's doing an article on like the history of UK Dota and Ireland Dota, because I was talking to Shane from ESL yesterday. Right. Apparently he organised the IRLAN events, and he flew over Shiva, and OD Pixel just interviewed Owen. What are your sort of, do you have any memories, anything you'd like to add to that piece, you know, of the history of UK Dota?
If I can remember correctly, there's both me and Machine, the CS caster, we both did Epic 12, if I remember correctly, and that was like our first kind of foray into, you know, it's that stepping stone of, we've done small events, we've done like, you know, grassroots local stuff, and then that was like, you know, kind of small medium event, and then we went on to do, you know, bigger things with, you know, ESL and PGL and some of the big tournament organisers.
So that Epic did have Dota, didn't it? 'Cause it doesn't at the moment, unfortunately.
Yeah, it did back then. I'm an Epic.LAN winner as well. Yeah, I went to one of the small Epics. There weren't many Dota. I think there was like 6 teams. But yeah, we had a stack of players. We went and we won an Epic.LAN for the Dota tournament. So yeah, I went from caster to LAN winner, you know, LAN winner, to then you know, casting on the big stage here at Birmingham. But yeah, it's kind of sad not seeing Dota at, you know, Insomnia as well, right? We've got to drop the Insomnia name in there, because I was casting I-48, I-49 when they had, you know, a decent amount of Dota teams. You know, we had 20 odd teams back then for Dota events. Epic would have, you know, 12 to 16 teams as well. You know, there were plenty of people kind of playing and willing to go to these LAN events. But
it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because we've had things like the ESL Premiership in League of Legends over the years, and the ESL Premiership did do a Dota 2 skirmish Premiership a few years back, and then that sort of ended. It was like an experiment. Why do you think we don't have the grassroots Dota things anymore? We do have League a little bit.
I'm honestly not sure. It might just be a volume thing, where, you know, League has 10x or whatever the player base, especially in English-speaking countries. But I'm honestly not that sure. I think Dota players can also be a little picky sometimes in terms of what they're watching. So when you go to a broadcast, you want to see high-level play, right? You know, watching grassroots tournaments, maybe not something that everyone can get into and follow through on. But it's honestly hard to say. I mean, there are still communities out there, you know, playing online and, you know, playing from home, remote stacks and things like that. It's like the Biscuit Network and things like that, where, you know, there's TeamSpeaks or Discords set up where you can find parties and group up together. But yeah, I'm honestly not sure. Might just be, you know, people don't get along with each other. I know. Back in my day there was a little toxicity problem, but you know, talking to people who I fell out with, you know, 5-6 years ago, you know, we're all reformed, we've all grown up, you know, and chatting with people, and it's like, yeah, I was a dickhead back then, you know. Sorry.
And your name, Gareth, you know, I think it's interesting. Sometimes we get esports personalities that don't want to have a gamer tag for whatever reason. What was your thinking, or did you have a gamer tag before?
I did have a gamer tag before, and I changed it. So my gamer tag originally was a word from South Park that became a politically incorrect word. Okay. So I, kind of moved away from it. I got a few sort of nasty DMs, even though I didn't see it that way, but the way things shift. Okay. Looking back on it now, it was a dumb name. Right, okay. But yeah, I was one of the first ones to kind of move into using my real name. Now everyone's copying me, start putting first name casts as their Twitter handle and stuff like that. Yeah, I don't know. Gamer tags are still fun as long as you've got something that ages well. You think back to old Counter-Strike days. You got XXX Sniper Wolf and like the cringe. Yeah, I don't have that username anymore.
And you mentioned to me before I hit record, you've actually worked at some TI events. What were you doing at those as well? When were they?
So I did. I can't remember the numbers now. I did the TI in Bucharest, which unfortunately didn't have a crowd. So I did group stage there, and then I did one main event series. And then the TI after that, I did group stage for that as well. Casting a couple of TIs. I mean, that's the event you kind of strive towards as a caster. But funnily enough for me, I got to do TI before I got to do an ESL main event. So when I got up here and got to the caster desk, honestly, I was welling up. The emotions hit me, and I was like almost crying from being happy, looking down on the crowd, and like this is my ESL event. This is my the kind of pinnacle of my career at this point. Yeah.
That's awesome. I don't know what's happening. I think Sky might be doing an interview, and a PR person has just come up to me and just gone, and I don't know what she's saying. So I don't know if we're supposed to be quiet. Loud? I don't know what's going on. I'm going to have a go at them after this interview. No, I think we're all right to continue going.
It's my caster voice and projecting a little bit.
You're good. You're good. They would have told us. I think, to be honest, that's most of my questions, Gareth. It's nice to see someone come from, grassroots, Epic.LAN, right up to this top level. Where do you see? Are you doing this completely full time now? Where do you see yourself in the future as well?
Yeah, doing it all full time. So it's 2015 that I started as a full time caster, and it's kind of sustained my lifestyle until now. What are we? 2024 now, so that's nine years, going on a decade of full time casting. Yeah. I mean, the landscape's always changing though. It's kind of scary to think about the future. What happens next year? What's the landscape going to look like? Because last year this year we lost DPC, which was kind of a very solid. You're going to have 3 seasons a year. That's X amount of income where you'll pay rent, right? This year a little more reliant on getting a LAN event gig, getting that extra bit of money just to.
And I know it's probably not all confirmed yet, but obviously the World Cup, the Riyadh Masters is around the corner, so I guess talent isn't confirmed yet. But what are your general thoughts on that? Because that's the first time we've had that, right? I was talking to Bonkers yesterday, their manager at OG, and or actually I can't remember who I was talking to now, but they said they feel like we've gone from that was it. Shane at ESL said everyone used to talk about TI.
Yeah.
Now everyone's going to be talking about World Cup. I know he's going to be biased because he works for ESL, but what are your thoughts on the whole event and how it will change things?
So they've had a couple of. So we did Riyadh Masters the past couple of years, and I think it's the same event, but the branding has shifted to this Esports World Cup. Yeah. So I did the first Riyadh, which was honestly kind of incredible because the prize pool, was massive, and it's like kind of competing with TI, but TI was still the top dog. But now the change with the battle pass and the crowdfunding and things like that for TI, the prize pool has shrunk quite a bit. It's much more realistic now compared to the 40-50 million that we had previously. It's like, that was nice for headlines. It was good for kind of showing off, but for stability and having the scene continue, it's not ideal to have one event that is 99% of the prize pool for the year, right? You want that to be spread out across multiple events, but also like multiple titles as well, right? Looking at the Esports World Cup, they've got tens of millions spread out across 10, 15 games, which is honestly pretty cool to have it all together.
And then also, you say the majority of the prize pool, TI was substantially lower last year, wasn't it? It was $2 or $3 million, I think.
3 or 3 point, something like that. Yeah, it was like.
Do you think they'll change the battle pass system? I'm not, super technical, super knowledgeable ball of that, but I think I've read somewhere that Valve are thinking of changing it again, which may push up the crowd-funded prize pool.
I mean, it's possible. I mean, so they went away from the Battle Pass and their plan... So they released a patch recently, the Crownfall update, which has, I think, 4 or 5 kind of segments or chapters in it. So we're in the first chapter now of, cosmetics being released and sort of money going back into the game. But I don't think we'll have the same thing where, a Battle Pass is going to dictate the prize pool of a tournament. Yeah. So, the kind of livelihood and the prize pool is more going to come from, the developer and then sponsors, right? Yeah. Which is way more sustainable than kind of relying on the whales, the whales that are spending tens of millions on their level 50,000 battle pass.
Although that did help a lot in the past, right? That was one of the highest prize pools back in the day, wasn't it? $40 million, I think, back in a certain day. Gareth, this has been a really good chat. Is there anything else you'd like to add? And forgive me for not knowing your history that well, because Dota isn't my knowledge. I don't know, I saw a tweet a while ago and it was like someone saying, I'm so happy Gareth's getting to do this now, and it sort of implied this was your first big thing, which isn't true.
You're not the only one. There's a couple of talent that were like, is this your first, event in front of the crowd? And like, no, I did, I did Arlington, did Lima Major, I've done TI. It's just that this is, again, it's that kind of weird thing where I've done a lot of the last steps before this. A lot of people sort of do, that stepping stones. They do an ESL event, then they do TI. Whereas I've been waiting to do an ESL event for almost 10 years now, kind of getting into this spot. I did notice that you had some funny questions at the end, like Nando's.
Oh,
Nando's
So,
order. Or...
Apologies, because I think Wade, we put this interview request in, and I thought Wade was going to do it because he said it in the OD Pixel one. He said, "Oh, can you do it, Dom?" So yeah, let's ask some silly questions before we get to the end. So, what is your favourite Nando's order?
So I've only, honestly, it's probably bad to be saying this as a Brit, but I've only been to Nando's 3 times. Right. Yeah, but I go for the chicken thighs, like spiciest level. Yeah. Get the coleslaw and the chips. That's what I go to. Yeah.
And what is your favourite British meal? If you're abroad, what do you miss the most? I guess.
What do I miss? So I live in Berlin. And they do really good pastries and they do really good meat there. But for some reason, in the centuries of history that Germany has, they've not figured out how to make a meat pie. Right. So when I come back here, I go to Greg's, get a steak bake, and I'm like, oh, that is the spot. It's so good.
I love the Greg's bakes. I like the sausage and bean melt ones myself. They're quite nice. Any other fun questions can we do? As we're here with the Brewmaster theme, what's your drink of choice?
My drink of choice? So I don't drink that much nowadays, but it's... I think dark and stormy is what I go for. So that's the rum and ginger beer.
Right. Oh, yeah, that's really
nice.
Slice
of lime. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I stopped drinking a while back, but that's got me tempted.
Yeah.
Gareth, is there anything else you'd like to add? It's been a great chatting to you today.
No, it's all good. Yeah. Enjoying the event, having a good time.
Excellent. Yeah. Enjoy it. Are you casting any more?
No, I'm done.
You're done for the event.
I had the last series last night. A really good one was OG against Falcons with the all chat banter, all the the flaming and the all chat stuff. That was a good. Me and Lacoste, this is a good one to close it out on. Super hype.
It's a shame to see Ari get knocked out as the sole UK player. What was I going to say? Your prediction, I guess. Who do you think will win it, and grand final score prediction?
So I've covered Eastern European Dota for the past couple of years pretty extensively, and I think BetBoom have been kind of deserving of a tournament win. They're like an all-star team. They're meant to be the gods of Eastern Europe, and they've not had that chance. They've been pipped out by Team Spirit and Falcons previously. Yeah. So I think this is their time. But if it's Falcons against BetBoom in the grand finals, it's going to be a real close one. But I think BetBoom are going to potentially take it.
Yeah. What score?
It's a 3-2. 3-2. It's going to go all the way to the bitter end. Yeah.
Lovely. On that note, Gareth, thanks so much. It's been great talking to you. And good luck at your future events as well.
Thank you.